Hello folks, Kyle here, Dark 30 Outdoors. Hey, today I'm going to do a big buck profile, and I'm mostly going to be talking about the Ohio legend buck that was harvested by Lee Ellis. Now, he does have a YouTube channel, it's Seek One. If you're not familiar with it, you can certainly do a search and go and find the video for that buck. I believe it scored 212 inches. It's a buck that he harvested this past November, and I gotta tell you, everything about it is top notch. The buck is amazing. The hunt was awesome. The videography and the filming was just 100% on point. I tip my hat to that guy. He drove repeatedly again and again and again and again 10 plus hours or whatever to come to Ohio to hunt and to specifically target that specific deer, that specific monster buck, and he got it done. And he documented all of it on film. So the reason I wanted to do this is last year around this time I did a big buck profile video for a buck that was killed here in Ohio. That one had a negative connotation to it. Or at least at the time that I did the video, there was some controversy. He had gone on a well-known podcast and shared his story. I'm referring to CJ Alexander. And half the people seemed as though they believed his story and thought he was legit. Half the people felt that it was a little bit too sketchy. There was too many question marks, and they weren't sure that his story was legit. As it turned out, he did poach that buck. The law did get involved. They did a full-scale investigation. Ultimately, 23 charges were handed down from a grand jury indictment. He pled guilty to many of them, and he has been sentenced. So that was a poached buck. That story was not legit. But anyway, I think it's something that I want to do each year. Like in January when the season is just about over. I mean, we still have archery season. Extends to the end of January, but there's not a lot of record class bucks that get knocked down mid to end of January. So let's talk about this Ohio legend buck. I mean, just a phenomenal buck. He obviously had been around the block a long time, and he had experienced a lot of hunting pressure. And this young man, even though he lives 10 hours away, he was able to locate it. He was able to get permission to hunt for the sheds. He was able to recover the sheds, which that alone was an amazing accomplishment. And then he kind of had this buck isolated to a summer range, and he felt really good about his chances of harvesting him on that summer range. However, you know, hunting throws you curveballs. Life happens, weather happens, patterns change. Here in Ohio, the mid to late summer and even early fall, we had drought-like conditions. And in a lot of areas, EHD was a big deal. So I know that the Ohio legend buck, the young hunter that harvested that buck, he did have some nervousness around that, but you know, his area was spared. That deer did not have to deal with that. But good for him, man, for identifying where's this deer not going to go. What does that leave? Where can he go? Where might he go? And you know, he just diligently worked his tail off to put himself in position to harvest that buck. And it's a true testament to the diligence and persistence. You know, I saw a discussion about it on an Ohio hunting forum, and I commented that most people won't put in the persistent work and effort and time involved to pursue a decent buck that lives an hour away. Now, granted, he has something that a lot of us don't, and that is time. But he has built that life for himself. You know, you can't take that away from him. We all have our opportunities. Most of us have 9 to 5 and families and and kids and kid functions and all of those things. And then that's fine. You know, so he's a little bit different from us, but that doesn't take anything away from it. And I really want to accentuate this big buck profile as a positive record book buck in Ohio that was harvested. You know, last year's had a negative connotation. This one has a positive connotation, like to 99.9%. This young man documents everything on film. He's knocking on doors. He's asking for permission. He's doing it right. He's not crossing property lines without permission. He's not trespassing. He's not doing anything wrong. There's absolutely no negative spin to the harvester, that world-class buck that he got. The reason I said 99.9% is because there are people out there that are just terrible. You know, the rumor mill, or they just say things just to say them, or out of spite, I don't know. But yeah, rumors swirled around about how he was able to get permission, and that's all they are, is rumors. So I'm not going to cater to that really. Obviously, if you watch the video, if you watch his channel, you get a feel for that young man. You know, he is as legit as anything, not just in the Harvest of Ohio Legend. Watch all of his videos. That's what he's done his whole life. You know, so for people to kind of attack his character and, you know, claim that he did something different than what it shows on the video, that's pretty low class. And again, I'm probably dwelling on that too much. Another thing that I wanted to point out is that there are teachable moments in that video, okay? He recognized that this buck has experienced heavy hunting pressure throughout much of his life. So he was smart about how he did things. For example, not using a corn pile. If everyone else around has that corn pile out, then he probably ought to not use one, right? And ultimately where he killed the buck, he did not utilize a corn pile. And it was probably a pivotal move in enabling him to harvest the buck. Knowing when to move, when not to move, knowing that you might have soft bumped the deer, but reading his body language, you know, is he freaking out, or is he just slipping out? The woodsmanship. I mean, this guy knows his stuff, and if you watch that video that he put out on the Ohio Legend buck, you can actually learn some things from the guy. He's got a lot of experience, and he shares his knowledge, and that's tremendous. I will say that it's very, very long. I had to kind of break it down and watch it in parts here and parts there, and at first I wondered if he couldn't have cut it down a whole lot more, but I realized that there are so many ancillary details to that hunt. That's why it's such a long video. I enjoyed it immensely. Anyway, that's really all I wanted to do, was just kind of bring a big buck profile for a monster that was harvested in Ohio in 2024. The Ohio Legend by Lee Ellis. I mean, it takes the cake. A 212 monarch, just an absolute monster. And I do hope you'll go and check it out. I haven't added any clips here. I haven't done. I don't want anyone to feel like I'm kind of, you know, riding his coattails or anything. That's not my intention here. That's why I try to kind of be careful about saying you know, his name and all that stuff too much, because that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to do a big buck profile. I did one last year. It turned out to be, you know, negative and not so good, but this one, all positive. Just a tremendous harvest, and you know what? I am proud to say that a fine monster buck like that came from the great state of Ohio. As always, thanks for watching.